Welcome back. Have you ever heard an artist that was just so good that you thought they have to be playing this on the radio? Want to hear what I'm talking about? Check out this clip. Guess what? That right there was an underground artist. I know. But this is where I come in. My name is Tim, and this is Discovering the Scene. And I am here to bring you great rock and metal artists just like this, so we can tell the music industry that's what we want to hear. But you didn't come here for me. Let's get to the interview room and discover this great artist. And here we are in the interview room with Spencer Ezell. Spencer, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Tim. How are you doing?
Doing very well, sir. It's almost like we've done this before.
I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Yeah, man. For those of you that have no clue what that little joke's about, this is the third time of our recording this interview because of technical difficulties, but I'm hoping that we got it ironed out now.
Hey, third time's a charm, right?
That's what they say, so let's hold them to it, right?
Absolutely.
So I guess we'll start off by what age did you begin your musical journey?
I think I was about 10 years old, maybe 11. Our music program in school stopped at elementary school, so about fifth grade. And we did a program that year where it was all Disney movies. So the third grade did, I think it was like Little Mermaid or something. Fourth grade did Beauty and the Beast. And fifth grade did Aladdin, which was my favorite Disney movie at the time. And I got cast as the Prince Aladdin. So that we had two different Aladdins. We had the street rat who had to carry all the heavy equipment, and then the Prince Aladdin who only had to carry a microphone to the gig. So that was pretty cool. I started early.
Yeah, there's a lot of real life going on there, man.
Is that like art imitating life imitating art kind of thing?
I think so, man. I think there's something to this. So,
yeah, that's what I got cast as the Prince Aladdin. So that was the first time that I actually sang in a live setting in front of people. I was scared to death, but I had a really great music teacher that believed in me, that put me in that position. And even the following year in sixth grade, we didn't have a music program anymore, but she pulled me out of class to sing at the Veterans Day program. So that was one of the next things that I did just the very next year. And she asked me, "So are you still singing at all?" I said, "Well, not really." She said, "Well, you really should, because you're good at it. You should do something with that." Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the first inklings of that support, pushing me in that direction. Then, of course, a couple of years later, I found the guitar, and everything changed after that.
Very good, very good. So, guitar, and I see a bass behind you. So,
yeah.
Very good. So I'm guessing, guitar and bass are kind of hand in hand, but some people are better at one than the other.
Yeah, I would say guitar is my primary instrument. Mm-hmm. I've played bass pretty well for about 15 years. Play a little bit of drums. I wouldn't consider myself a drummer, but I play drums. I love playing drums. So
kind of helps out with the live frustration, getting on the drums and just beating them.
For sure, yeah. Well, it's funny. Everywhere I go, I'm always tapping on stuff, and people assume, "Oh, are you a drummer?" And I'm like, "No, I just like making noise and tapping on things."
I'm seeing if I can annoy you, right?
Right.
Very good, man. So, is that all your instruments that you play?
Yeah, I would love to learn to play piano. My grandmother was a pianist, really, really good, ear trained. I love saxophone, violin, but it's one of those things I never just pushed myself to learn, but I would love to. I know the basics, how to make some chord structures and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you ever learn that, you let me know. Then I'm definitely going to sign up for that because I love piano music.
Yes, absolutely.
And who are your biggest influences?
Well, I'm an 80s kid, but I grew up in the 90s. And that's kind of when I found music, probably my preteens to early teens. and that was right in the middle of the '90s. So you had we had the grunge and then the post grunge era. So I grew up listening to bands like Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden, Aerosmith was still rolling on at that time, Oasis, Black Crowes. Those were some of my biggest influences musically and stage presence as well as a stage performer for sure.
Oh, very cool.
But then I would, break into my dad's record collection, and he had Boston, Elton John, and Electric Light Orchestra. I was like, "Whoa, this stuff is great too." And my
That's
mom loved the hair metal and the '80s synth pop and all that, so I had a really good rounded education.
Yeah, it's always nice when your family is one fan of said music that you're getting into, because it keeps
Right.
the knocking on the wall or door, turn that mess down conversation at a level, you know.
That never happened. Even when I was listening to gangster rap, it still didn't happen.
Really, I don't see you being the gangster.
Hey, Bone Thugs and Harmony is a guilty pleasure. I will admit to that. So
Okay, very cool, very cool. Yeah, yeah. One of my guilty pleasures has to be Irish drinking music. So
I got you.
yeah,
I
it's
thought you were
a,
going to say Irish river dancing. I was like, oh, I've got to see that.
I love that stuff, man. Yeah, I I can't bust a move, but if I bust a move, I'm busting my rear. So,
Yeah. You might break something.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, when you're younger, you fall down, you bounce, you get back up. When you're older, you fall down and you just kind of lay there for a while.
Yeah, you just kind of ponder life's, decisions and stuff. How did I end up here?
Right.
Dude, I can watch a kid fall and literally my knees hurt watching that. I'm like, yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's like a rubber band just bouncing right back up
Oh my god, I hurt for them, even if they don't hurt.
for
Mm.
sure.
I noticed that acoustic guitar you got back there has a an autograph on it, and I noticed that was in your music video that you just released for Ghost, right?
Right.
Can you tell me the story about that guitar?
Yeah. My grandmother, Ezell, on my dad's side, she was my grandfather too. They were both bluegrass country musicians. So they were in bands and such in their early years. And she passed away in 2018. And she was
Sorry
a
to
big
hear.
supporter. She wanted me to be a country singer, but I was always a rock guy. But she supported me anyway. And when she passed, she left me just a little bit of money from her estate. So I ended up getting this guitar with it. And the signature, it looks like an actual signature. But what it is, my stepdaughter has a machine where she could make vinyls and do like a Cricut machine.
Hmm.
You can make T-shirts and stuff like that. And she made this sticker out of one of her actual signatures that I had. So it appears as if my grandmother autographed the guitar that she bought me.
Very
So,
cool.
and it's a cool story I get to tell, to everybody who asks about it. Who's Peggy? Or they'll call my guitar Peggy.
Right, right. There
So,
you go.
so
Yeah,
she's always with me. So,
that's a lovely story. I love when things like that have a story to it. I know that some people actually like sticker up their guitar. I've never been that kind of person because I'm like, I spent
yeah.
a lot of money on this guitar. It ain't junk.
I did in my teenage years. I did that. I had one that I put a bunch of stickers on it, but that was a passing thing.
What's been the biggest challenge in your musical journey so far?
Well, there's been so many, but I would probably say the biggest challenge overall. I've been in a handful of bands, different situations, and just it's really difficult sometimes to have everybody that you create music with to be on the same track, and that's normal. There's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with that, but everybody has their own lives, their own jobs, their own goals, their own measure of success. So for me personally, just being a songwriter, wanting to be creative and continuing to move forward, finding those people that'll stick with you for the long haul.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it's kind of how life is in general. People are with you for a reason, for a season, and sometimes those people go by the wayside and for whatever reason, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
that's always been a pretty big challenge for me is trying to keep something consistent and
Yeah.
uh, and going. Um, and that's one of the reasons with the new album, Ringside Seats, that it was kind of a challenge with that because that's the first rock album that I've ever played all the instruments on. And I said that might be a cool idea just to do everything to see how it turns out. And I think it turned out great the way it did.
Very cool. And who engineered that album?
It's my buddy CJ Moeller. He actually produced my last EP, and it won a Josie Music Award last year.
Is that what I'm
Um,
looking at on the shelf back there?
yeah, we got the Josie Music Award here, and then I've got 2 World Songwriting Awards. One for Music Video of the Year, and one's for Best Rock Song.
Very
I've
cool.
got some more nominations coming up this year at a couple of different award shows. One in Atlanta, one in the Netherlands. So the word's getting out about the music, so I'm excited about that. And yeah, CJ, it all started out with me tracking everything at home. And so I knew he had a Pro Tools set up. And I said, hey, would you mind like maybe just looking at my vocals, tweaking them a little bit? And he said, well, I can just produce the whole thing for you if you want. And I said, well, if you want to. And that kind of started that relationship. So we did the EP. And then I was talking about doing a full length rock record, and he was fully on board. And I think we knocked that thing out in about 6 months. It's crazy.
When you're writing a song, do you start with the lyrics? Do you start with a melody, or do you start like with a guitar riff and go from there? What's your process like?
It's kind of all of the above, but I would say 90% of the time it's the vocal melody.
Okay.
And that's the weird thing is that's almost one of those things where it just comes to me at random times. I'm not even planning it. Um, it's not rare to see me running out of the car into the house, grabbing the guitar and playing. So, okay, yeah, that's a C. Okay, and then D. All right, and figuring it out, getting my voice recorder on my phone and recording it, and just just humming the melody. That's happened a lot, especially the chorus melody. Sometimes it's a verse melody. Lyrically, that's almost always the last thing that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I will have a couple of ideas, like a sentence or two, just like a line. I was like, that's a clever line. So I have a running list of those that I can just kind of pop in on any song that I'm working on. But that's usually how it goes. I've got the music and the melody pretty well laid out. And then, of course, I'll arrange the song after that, verse, chorus, bridge, and work that out. And then usually the lyrics are the last thing that I do.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm used to myself as well. I don't do vocals much, but of course, everything I do is Cookie Monster vocals. Like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh."
You're a great Cookie Monster, Tim.
Thank you.
Well, even the song, the cycle Reborn, the song that you and I did together, that was kind of the reverse of what I usually do. So it was kind of interesting to see what I could come up with because you already had the music available. So you're like, here, create a melody around the music. But usually I have the melody in my head and I create the music around that. So it's always interesting to try to challenge yourself against what you usually are capable of.
Yeah, dude, that was a pretty fun song. I just had that bout of inspiration for that one song, and just that was it, and it fizzled from there. I don't know what happened.
We should do more.
I know, right? Definitely should do more. Um, and like for me, one of my biggest problems, I don't know if it's because of like lack of time or whatnot, but I usually have creative blocks. How do you overcome creative blocks?
I think usually when I'm at a period of a writer's block, it's usually because I'm trying too hard, I've
Hmm.
noticed. There are times when I can sit down and just noodle around on the guitar and come up with something. Even during like a band rehearsal at church, I'll be just playing around in between. I was like, oh, that sounds nice, and I'll hang on to that idea. Um, but usually, if I'm sitting down really trying to do something, either it's not good or it sounds too much like something I've already done.
Hmm.
Um, so I know with this last album, there were several songs that did not make the cut because it was like a spigot turning on, and all of these ideas were just flowing. I was like, oh, I like that song better, so I'll just cut that one.
Hmm.
And it's during those times you just try to build a silo just full of songs and just keep it coming because you never know when you're going to get to that point where you're stuck, and you
Oh
can be
yeah.
stuck for months, for years, if you're not exercising that creative muscle,
Oh yeah, yeah, and two, if you don't use it, you lose it. And like for me, if I don't record that stuff immediately, then I definitely lose it. Like a lot of my creative times usually comes during like my standard 9 to 5 work, and I'll be like
Right.
walking through like the hallway or something like that, or if I'm home, I'm like, man, that's a pretty cool riff. I can't do anything about it though because I gotta work, you know.
I've got plenty of tracks in my phone where I'm just humming the melody. And
Yeah.
so I'll figure it out later. I've literally been backing out of the driveway in my car, and I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah. I'll stop and, in the shower. I've woken up from a deep sleep or, like half asleep, half awake, and I'll have this melody, and I'll wake up in the morning and figure it out before I get my day started. So
hmm
it really does come at just really random times.
Yeah, one time I had a girlfriend that was a little bit overbearing, and I got up one day to write what would now become the Forgotten Fables song "Painkiller," the opening
Mm-hmm.
riff to that. And at the
Mm-hmm.
time, it was more of like an off time riff, and then it came into a little bit more of a 4/4 time. And like she woke up, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Minding my own business and writing music. Leave me alone." But yeah, dude, it was like maybe like 4 in the morning when I did that. I was like,
Wow.
I heard it in my dream. I had to wake up. So you and I have a lot of similarities when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I had to write it down because I didn't have any recording things. So what I had to do was like literally learn the song, figure out what the timing was, and tab it out.
It's funny. We're talking about this, and you mentioned Ghost earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So you've heard that song, you've seen the video, right?
Phenomenal.
Yeah. So that entire song, okay, the melody, the arrangement, the lyrics, 30 minutes.
Wow.
That's one of those where I sat down one night, just sat on the couch with a guitar and was just playing around, and that came to me. Whereas there's some songs that you work on for a little bit and try to perfect. Well, we'll just cut this part. I'll do this here, and it might take a few days, couple of weeks. That entire song was 30 minutes, and I've
It's
had a
crazy.
few that have been that way, where it's almost like a gift that just given to you. Complete.
Yeah, but maybe I could siphon some of that gift off of you because I could use some of that in my life.
Yeah, I'll just check your email now. I've got something great.
I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. Yeah, like creative block is crazy for me because I more or less write song parts or riffs or something like that. Then I'll record those because now I have the capability of doing that. And
Hmm.
I have like a whole running list of like little parts, but they're either different tempos, won't work with one another, or something like that. So I mean,
Right.
I have a lot of stuff. I just don't have the rest of it to put to it. And like some of it's verse riffs, like the whole verse riff or a bridge or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find for me, if I could create the chorus, then I could create the rest of the song.
Right.
But if I have to work at it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. The lead track for Ringside Seats is called All for Nothing.
hmm
And that's kind of one of those deals where I had two different separate ideas for two separate songs. And it's
Hmm.
actually melded together into one. I made it work. So
Very
it was
cool.
kind of a similar thing where, I had a chorus melody in this and a chord progression for this, and then I had something different for this one. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it together because it was similar in structure. And I think it worked out great.
Yeah, I've heard that entire album that you sent me, and I enjoyed it, dude. It was great.
You got to hear it before release day, behind the scenes.
That's the wonderful thing about my job here with discovering the scene. I get to hear it before it comes out, dude.
Yeah, you literally discovered it.
That's right. I discovered it. Coining the phrase. Ding. So, like when you're writing your lyrics and such like that, where do you pull from, far as like the topics? Is it when you're writing a song? Do you think that you're going to immediately connect with your audience with this right here, or is the audience the last thing you think about? How does that work for you?
I just use Chat GPT.
There you go.
Makes it so much easier. I don't have
Yeah,
to think.
it helps, man. I tell you.
Now, usually, a lot of my songs they've always dealt with similar subject matter, but I use music to express the way I feel.
Okay.
Whether that might be regret, whether it's anger, whether it's sorrow, whatever I may be feeling. And it's not necessarily, I could write a song about a feeling, not necessarily pointed at a specific person or a situation. Um, when I first moved here in 2005, before I started the whole rock band scene here.
Mm-hmm.
I played at the Bluebird Cafe a lot, doing their open mics and such.
Mm-hmm.
Met a lot of great writers and stuff there, and one person told me that a song is a universal idea with a personal touch, and I've always remembered that.
That's really
So
good. I
yeah,
like
it
that.
could be something, this certain person, and they have this name, they did this to me, for example. But you want to write the song to where somebody on the other side of the world can relate to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've written songs that some of my lowest moments, when I felt alone, and to be on stage and sing those songs and have the people sing back to you, it's kind of just an unmatched feeling for sure, because it feels like you have an army of supporters behind you, you
Oh
know?
yeah, dude. That's a high you can't come off of for a while. Uh, Even if I'm not the vocalist, dude, just to have in the audience, have that interaction, it's
Yeah,
definitely, that replaces any kind of drug for me because I don't do any drugs or anything like that. But it's just like that right there is just there's such a love, and like even to this day, if I listen to like a live performance, just hearing the audience for somebody
right.
else can make me tear up. I'm like, I miss
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's just that's one of my first loves with music is just the feeling of it, how it makes you feel, you
Yeah,
know. And when you're playing with so many different musicians, I call them I call them, the mathematician who, we got to this is the how many beats per measure, and this chord goes here. But sometimes you just want to the song carries you somewhere else and you just have to feel it and go on the ride.
right,
It's
right.
like watching a great movie. You suspend disbelief. Yeah, I know they're actors. I know this is written. It's not real, but I'm invested in the story.
Right. When I'm in a practice room situation, that's definitely how I let things do. I don't come with a full package. I just may come with a song part, like I was saying earlier, and then let
Right.
people feed off of it. And if it takes, it takes. If it doesn't, then I put it back in the Rolodex, and there we are.
All right. It's good to have a library, a backup library.
That's right. That's right. Now, as far as this new album that you're coming out with, have you performed this project at all yet?
No, not yet. I do have some plans this year with a band and we won't be just doing my songs. We'll be doing some others as well.
Hmm.
So I'm looking forward to maybe doing a few selections from this album on that set eventually. There is one song on here called Tranquility, and it's actually a rehash of a song that I wrote when I was about 18, and I did it originally with my band, Cold Shoulder. And we did play that song live, so I guess that counts, even though it was 20 years ago. But yeah, that song is just kind of a remix, a rehash of that song, kind of modernizing it a little bit. So
What do you think about the current state of the music industry with the, it just seems like to me it's in kind of disarray. How do you feel
mhm.
about it this day and age?
Just don't quit your day job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think you and I had talked before about. I remember being 14 years old and going to Walmart, for example, and seeing all of these CDs in alphabetical order. And I was like, man, one day I want to have my name on the little tab there, Spencer Ezell. So that would be so cool. So that was my pie in the sky dream.
Hmm.
And that's how you've made it. And
Oh
back
yeah.
then, you had to sign the record deal, and they were the gatekeepers to your success. You viewed success as kind of like a totem pole straight up. But now you view it as a tree. You can go so many different directions. You can change directions.
That's a good
Um,
analogy. I like that.
and like today, I can search up my name on Apple Music, and then I can search up Michael Jackson or Taylor Swift or The Weeknd or whatever. So I am amongst these other artists in a sense. I'm not getting the streams they are, obviously, but I am amongst them. So it's really changed as far as we have more opportunity as artists. Even just the smallest of independent artists can put their music out there, and
Hmm.
social media and all these different avenues that we have to promote it that we didn't have before.
Right.
However, and not that people back then were making a lot of money either if they, got taken by the label or whatever. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, there could be a case for being oversaturated too, where there's so much, it's hard to stick out, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And saturation is definitely an issue because, to kind of quote somebody else that I interviewed, they said, if there's so many voices screaming, how can one person get heard?
Right.
So it's definitely one of those things that people need to take into consideration. And the other thing is, like, if you're going to be performing live, if a deaf person came to a concert, just saying, playing devil's advocate, what can you do to impress that deaf person that other band, like, what's going to set you apart? That's the main
Right.
thing. And I I had somebody give me that analogy, and I was like, you know what, you make a lot of sense there. So that's when I started doing my whole shtick with the eye makeup, the black hair, because I used to have like long blonde hair. And
I didn't see you with the blonde. I remember the black though.
oh dude, I'm that was definitely pre 2025 for sure, or actually pre 2005. But
Okay.
yeah, I think you probably saw me around maybe 2006 or 7.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when we were talking before, I told you the story. I don't think it was the first time that we had met, but it
Mhm.
was just one of those early times. And I'm from a small town in West Tennessee, so I wasn't used to seeing people with long black hair, black eye makeup, parachute pants, chains hanging off, playing metal. So I saw you were in a band called Shadows of Light, and we played The End in
Yeah.
Nashville. And I remember that. I remember that night for two reasons. Number one, the sound guy yelling at me because I would cup the microphone and I would get up down and right in everybody's face, and I was singing. And of course, every time when you come across the monitor, it's a so at the end of the show, everybody's like, "Yeah, it was great. Good job." The sound guy comes up there and says, "You can't do that. You can't hold the mic. Didn't you hear that squealing?" I'm like, "Sorry."
And that guy's redneck accent was hilarious. I know I'm redneck too, but he was hilarious, man.
But the second thing I remember was uh, seeing you, like I said, with in this metal band or whatever, and you don't know quite what to expect from what you see.
Hmm.
And I saw you for one. I saw you standing at the door as people were leaving. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Yep, see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming. See you tomorrow. I thought that was hilarious right up front.
Yeah.
Uh, and then, secondly, I had just lost my granddad a couple of days before that. And you
Yeah.
came up to me and you put your hand on my shoulder and said, "Spencer, I'm sorry to hear about your granddad." And I thought that was so kind of you to just take the time to say that to me. And you didn't remember it when I mentioned it, but I still
Yeah.
remember it all this time later.
The first time that you brought that to my attention, I was like, wow, I did do that. Man, I don't even recall that memory. Is this what getting old's like? Jeez. But yeah,
Well,
man.
that's the funny thing is like you didn't remember it, but I did. So
Right.
you never know the impact that you make on people.
That's right. And I always try to put my best foot forward as much as I can. So I'm glad that I had a positive impact on you for sure, man. And definitely, I'm sure that this interview right here is going to impact somebody else positively hearing your story.
I hope so. I really do.
Absolutely. So, what song are we going to be debuting for you here?
This song is called "Believe." This was the first single that I released here on the album.
Mm-hmm.
It is it's probably one of the more sarcastic songs I've ever written.
Okay.
Whereas during the verses, I'm kind of speaking to this person or situation about how they've made me feel about their actions. But whereas when it gets to the chorus, um, I'm not necessarily poking fun, but I'm like, yeah, you just go ahead and do that and jump off that cliff and You just think that you're right and you're correct. Well, just go ahead and do that. See how that works out for you. You kind of
Okay.
get that kind of sarcastic, tongue in cheek lyrically.
I don't know about you, but I think this right here is just as good time as ever to debut that song. What do you think?
Let's do it. Let's roll it.
This right here is a song "Believe" by Spencer Ezell. And here we are again, back with
We're back.
Spencer Ezell.
And we're back.
And we're back. Good deal, man. Dude, that was a fantastic song, man.
Thank you.
So I'm going to bounce this off the wall and see if it sticks. Shinedown? Is that one of your references?
I've I've heard that a lot lately. You sound a lot like Brent Smith from Shinedown. I'm like, well, thanks. I mean, he's a great vocalist, great band, but that's actually not a band that I kind of go to or listen to. I like a lot of their songs, so it's strictly coincidental. I used to hear Chris Daughtry a lot
Oh, okay.
back
Yeah,
in the
I
day
can see
too.
that too.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the thing I hear the most is my talking voice sounds different than my singing voice.
And that right there is one of the things I was going to mention. And you beat me to it. Because, you know, when you are talking, your Tennessee accent comes out a little bit. But when you're singing, dude, you're like you're belting. You're
Right.
phenomenal. It's amazing. Very powerful voice, and just yeah, dude. Um,
Well, every time I've done like a TV interview or a radio interview, I know what I sound like. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk normal so it does not sound like I'm from Tennessee. And then I'll go back and listen to it, and I'm like, and I'm like, why? Why? I tried so hard to not sound like I was from West Tennessee. Well, I'm West Tennessee. I'm discovering the scene. But yeah, it doesn't come out when I sing. So
yeah, dude. It's like that's the weird thing, dude. Like for example, people from Great Britain, the UK, any of that right there, they when they sing, you barely hear any accent at all. You know.
yeah, Ozzy is an example of that too. And he's talking, but then when he sings, it's just it's clear. You
Hmm.
can hear everything he says.
It's like, can you just start singing all your stuff, Ozzy? Because
Just sing
honestly,
when
I
you
need
talk
to.
to me.
Yeah, we need to hit the SAP button on this dude because it
Can
ain't
you
working.
grab me a bottle of water? See, you don't know I'm from Tennessee.
Yeah, dude, just in that little demonstration right there was no Southern, and then the Southern came back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there was absolutely no Southern at all right there, and then the Southern came back. I don't know what
Ugh.
happened.
Oh well. You can take me out of the sticks, but you can't take the sticks out of me.
No, not at all. And I suffer from that too. So yeah, we are one in the same boat. So you want to do some fun questions, brother?
Absolutely. Let's dive right in.
You're like, nah, I'm out.
I like having fun. And that's the end of the interview, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in.
Let's see. If you were not a musician, what would you be doing right now?
Well, I think when I was about 12 or so years old, I wanted to be an astronomer.
Mm.
I am one of those telescope in the backyard type guys. I can tell you where all the planets are. I can tell you what constellation that is. I still love doing that as just a light hobby, but that's always interested me. I remember being told, well, you're going to have to go to college to do that. You got to take all these difficult math classes. So
Yep.
I said, you know what? Playing guitar and singing sounds a lot better than math.
That's right. You only have to count to 4.
Right. And some people can't even do that.
No, not at all.
And that's the drummer's job.
Right? It's like, come on, get with it. Every drummer, again, just left my my video. That's great. That's twice that I've picked on drummers and just I can just see it now. I'm going to be doing this professionally. I'm going to be announcing a show, and I'm just going to have a whole group of drummers just whip the snot out of me.
Drummers, send your hate mail to Tim Gleaves.
To Spencer Ezell. I'm going to send it all to you.
Yeah.
Let's just say here, if you could front any band, just your voice, what band would you want to front? And that's either past bands or present band. Which one would that be?
Well, I would have to go back to my favorite band growing up, which was Stone Temple Pilots. And I think I told you before that in 2016 they were looking for a new singer.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Weiland had passed away. Chester wasn't with him anymore.
Yeah.
And what was funny was they posted a video of the three of them playing a short snippet and saying, hey, we want you to submit a video or submit audio files of you singing these songs. And somebody had found that link and put it on Facebook before it was even live on their website.
Mm.
So I was at work. I went out to my car on my lunch break and sang those two songs into a lapel mic that I had and submitted them. So out of like 10,000 submissions, I was number 4 on that
Wow.
list. I said, hey, I was one of the first ones they listened to. So that's my claim to fame with that. But,
Mm-hmm.
not just to sing for a famous band, but your favorite band. I was like, I had to try, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah, dude. I mean, how many people could say I got to try out for one of my favorite bands? That's
Right.
not something you
Exactly.
actually see or hear. It's pretty amazing, and the fact that you had the opportunity, phenomenal, dude. Too bad you didn't make it, man. I'd been rooting for you for that one.
Yeah. I mean, was I the best man for the job? Well, maybe not, but I had to try because I grew up loving their stuff. Still do.
Yeah, 100%. Well, maybe you saved yourself a bad experience.
I will say a really, really cool thing that happened recently was when Scott Weiland was going through all the problems in the '90s after the album Purple came out that had Interstate Love Song on it.
Hmm.
They came out with their third album, cut touring short,
Hmm.
and they started a side project called Talk Show, and the lead singer was Dave Coots. He actually commented on my video Goodbye on YouTube
Oh
and was
wow,
complimenting the song. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like Dave Coos.
wow.
I was
That's
like, that is so, it's just so crazy, because you imagine being 13, 14, 15 years old, you're listening to this person in your Walkman, and
hmm
they're so far away, they're untouchable, they're in a different league, they're this famous musician or whatever. But to see that he listened to my song was just an incredible full circle moment.
Oh, dude, that would have sent chills down my spine. I mean, kind of got chills right now just for you, and I'm definitely proud for you for that. That is a good thing, and it's those, just like you said, it's those little things like that right there. A big person, uh, no matter what, dude, that right there means the world to people.
Oh my
So
gosh.
just
Yeah.
little act of kindness right there could go a long way. So yeah, that's very good. And how about this? If you were king for a day with any band, pastor, present, build your dream bill. So you're the headliner. Who
Mm-hmm.
are 3 bands that's going to open up for Spencer Ezell?
3. Okay. Stone Temple Pilots, Aerosmith, and Oasis. That's
Oh,
got to be my top 3.
that'd be a killer show. I'd pay
Yeah.
$100 to see that.
To see me, right?
You, yes, only you.
You
Yeah.
would show up late and just skip the other 3.
That's right. I
I'm
would
here to
do
see
that for you.
Spencer. Don't care about the rest.
As long as I get backstage passes, man, I don't care.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. And to wrap this up, we're gonna do one final question. What is the best piece of advice that you would give to any young, aspiring musician wanting to make music their life?
Wow. Well, if they're wanting to make it their life, I would say that they probably love doing what they do. It's a passion. I've known many people who like to play, but they don't want to pursue it,
Mm,
or they think they want to and they quit. But there's so many that really want to pursue it and continue to pursue it. And I would say there are so many letdowns and opportunities to be let down and to want to quit and want to give up. And artists, we're insecure by nature anyway. We wear our
mm-hmm.
hearts on our sleeves, and that's what creates such great art.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say, we talked about the awards earlier, and this one on the bottom is my Josie. That's the big one.
Okay.
And I had the opportunity to stand on the stage at the Grand Ole Opry to accept that.
Oh wow.
Like I said, my grandparents were bluegrass country musicians. My grandmother loved watching me perform. Well, not perform, but play at church. She would watch the live stream, and she said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. Your dad would be proud of you up there." And her dream would be just to be at the Opry.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
she passed in 2018, so she wasn't there in
Mm,
person to see it, but her grandson made it.
yeah.
So to stand in that circle was amazing. But to say all of that, I had 6 nominations when I won that award. So that means I lost 5 times, if you want to look at it that way.
Sure.
So on a much smaller scale, that kind of gives you a full perspective on a career. You're going to hear no. You're going to hear you're not what we're looking for. Only the sound guy is going to be there. Hey, great set tonight. And there's going to be times when you might even be moved to tears, just saying, I hate this. Why can't I get a break? But that would be my advice to anybody, just to never give up, because you might lose 5 times, but that one win makes it all worth it.
Oh, dude.
Absolutely, 100%.
That is an amazing bit of advice. Thank you so much for that right there. And you mentioned your grandmother not being there in person, but I guarantee you she was there in spirit, rooting you on, bud.
Oh, absolutely. I know she was.
All right. Well, dude, it's been a great honor to have you again, and again.
Hey, we should do this regularly.
We
I think
should,
we
right?
started our own, like a spin-off podcast where we just do this all the time.
Yeah, just do the same interview over and over. People's have
The
been like,
Ezell and Glebe Show.
right?
Every other night at 6:30.
That's right. It's like, man, they're talking about the same stuff. I gotta go to bed, man. What the?
We need more subject matter.
That's right. That's right, man. I don't see how they're gonna get 2 seasons out of this. I mean, look, if AC/DC can do it, we can do it, right?
Exactly.
The same song over and over, just different lyrics.
You only need 3 chords. That's all
it.
you need.
That's all of them. Now we're gonna see you back in the main studio. Back here in the main studio, and I hope you enjoy that as much as I did. See, this right here is the stuff that they should be playing on the radio today, but they're not. And just think, this right here is just one great artist, and I know there's others out there that haven't been discovered yet. So if you know any hard-working artists that need to be discovered, share this video with them. My contact info is down below. Want to join our street team? Like and subscribe. With your support, it might actually inspire vocalists to help during load-in. No, probably not. Probably not. It was worth a try though, right? Right?